US Intel Chief first India visit. Defence Minister meets Tulsi Gabbard. India for US crackdown on terror.
President Trump, through his first administration in the presidency, and it continues now, has been very clear about his commitment to defeating this threat of Islamist terrorism.
Modi government urges Gabbard to take action. That is our top focus at 5 Live.
US Director for National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard is in India. She's met Union Defence Minister Rajnath Singh in the national capital, and this marks the first high-level trip to India by a top official of the Donald Trump administration as he took over as president for his second tenure. Now, according to sources, during this meeting, India raised the issue of anti-India activities conducted by Khalistani organizations and Khalistan terror supporters and sympathizers, including a radical organization called Sikhs for Justice in America. India expressed concerns and asked the United States to take action and take strong action against unlawful activities of this organization. Tulsi Gabbard is visiting India as part of a multi-nation tour. The Asia leg of her trip will conclude with an address on the 18th of March at the Raisina Dialogue. It's that multinational gathering of security officials in Delhi. Prime Minister Narendra Modi invited Tulsi Gabbard for this. Now, the conversation is about many issues where India and the United States of America, two of the world's most powerful democracies, the oldest and the largest democracies of the world, are cooperating very closely. In fact, Tulsi Gabbard has also mentioned the close relationship between Prime Minister Narendra Modi and the US President Donald Trump, and their personal bond taking this relationship forward, as is cooperation in various fields, from defense to artificial intelligence to trade to technology, and diversifying this cooperation to newer areas. Listen in to Tulsi Gabbard. Listen in. I'll get you much more on this big story.
This was an issue that came up, and you would have seen references to that in Prime Minister's media statement as well. We do alert our friends to the activities of anti-India elements in their countries and their abuse of freedom of speech and other democratic freedoms to glorify terrorism and to threaten attacks against our diplomats or our parliament or our events in India. So these were also conveyed.
President Trump, through his first administration in the presidency, and it continues now, has been very clear about his commitment to defeating this threat of Islamist terrorism that has unfortunately plagued us, has and continues to pose a direct threat to the American people. But we see how it's been impacting people here in India, in Bangladesh, currently ongoing in Syria, Israel, and different countries in the Middle East. So this is a threat that I know Prime Minister Modi also takes seriously, and one where the leaders of our two countries will work together to try to identify and defeat that threat. My own personal spiritual practice, my personal relationship with God is the center of my life, and I do my very best every day to live a life that is pleasing to God, and what better way to do that and to do my best to be of service to all of God's children. And so in different times of my life, whether serving in war zones in different parts of the world or the challenges that we face now, it is Krishna's teachings to Arjuna in the Bhagavad Gita that I turn to in the best of times and the worst of times, and continuously learn critical lessons from Krishna to Arjuna that give me strength, that give me peace, that give me great comfort through all of the days.
I want to bring in Shivani Sharma into this conversation. Shivani, there's an issue that India has raised, and that's about Khalistan, the support that Khalistani terrorists and their activities get, both in the United States of America and in countries like Canada or across Europe. That's something that India has raised. The torching of the Indian consulate in San Francisco, the activities of sympathizers like Gurpatwant Singh Pannu, that's a cause for concern for India.
Certainly, Gaurav, India has been demanding action on all these incidents that are anti-India in nature, that has been causing threat to the Indian nationals on foreign soil, be it United States or Canada or Australia or any part of the world. But here it is important that in today's meeting with the Defence Minister and yesterday's meeting with the NSA, India has once again reiterated that it wants to act against terrorism on its own soil. As far as the Sikhs for Justice is concerned, it has been demanded from India's side that this particular organization must be listed as a terror organization in United States too, because it has been involved in anti-India activities and terror activities in United States. We've seen how the consulates have been burnt, how the anti-India slogans have been raised, how the diplomats from India and the other dignitaries have been attacked by these terrorists on the foreign soil. And Tulsi Gabbard has also indicated in her interviews that President Donald Trump and Prime Minister Narendra Modi, they both are fighting together to fight this particular threat against these terrorists across the world, not only in United States but in India and on the India-Pakistan border, and also in Bangladesh. So India and United States, they are going to fight even stronger against these terror elements across the world.
Stay with me, Geeta. The threat posed by radical Islamist terror, and that's a huge threat. Tulsi Gabbard mentioned Syria. She's mentioned the situation in Bangladesh. She's talked about what's happening, how it's a cause for concern in India and in the United States of America. But any forward movement, any tangible steps discussed?
Well, the fact that this is the first time Tulsi Gabbard was attending what is an annual feature here in India, Gaurav, National Security Advisor, hosting the intelligence chiefs meeting over here, a conference where top intelligence officers from various countries come. We had the Brits also over here, Canadians also over here. So top officers were here, but Tulsi Gabbard, given the fact that she's just taken office, was the main one of the most important dignitaries of the meeting. Yes, they discussed a lot. Islamist terrorism was one aspect of it, but the major part also was intelligence sharing, intelligence gathering, real-time intelligence sharing amongst these very important partner countries. And that certainly is what can really help one, control, contain terror activities and ensure that not just terror activities, including, money laundering, financial terrorism, all these activities need to be contained, and all these were aspects that were spoken of. Tulsi Gabbard's focus certainly on Islamist fundamentalism and how growing Islamist fundamentalism has led to a lot of problems, not just in this neighborhood, but across the region. She has indeed, Gaurav, put Bangladesh on notice, Yunus regime on notice, saying that what is happening is in Bangladesh, Hindus being attacked, minorities being persecuted is something that is unacceptable. And yes, for two countries in the region, it's going to be really problematic to have an administration that is so closely watching what's happening in their countries when it comes to a rise in Islamist fundamentalism and minority persecution, be it Bangladesh or Pakistan. So a lot of trouble for these countries and the regimes if they do not set their records straight. But particularly for India, it's a breather given the fact that Bangladesh and a change in government. We're not saying Yunus regime because it's a caretaker government, but a change in government, if BNP should come to power, would mean a lot of trouble and security concerns for India.
And the situation on ground, both India and the United States, and that is where intelligence cooperation, Shivani, becomes very, 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 very important, because radical Islamists and Pakistan's ISI, they tried to orchestrate a change of guard, especially when it comes to the army in Bangladesh, and it was quick intelligence sharing by India or by friends in the region that really helped General Waqar-uz-Zaman, the army chief in Bangladesh, and the radical Islamists or the ISI-supported Jamaat leadership could not take over, Shivani?
Certainly, Gaurav, last week we were reporting about this big threat to the military chief of Bangladesh, and the intelligence from India, as the sources say, they have helped Bangladesh thwart this attempt of a possible coup within the army. And that's what the intelligence sharing is all about. The partners, be it United States or India or other countries that are in India, the Five Eyes we call them. So they are all collaborating for an intelligence sharing, for the technology, for the AI, to collaborate and fight the threats, be it the terrorism or the financial frauds or the other threats or the violence across these nations. So certainly this visit will be empowering India to fight terrorism in a very strong manner with the support of United States, as it has committed that it is also against terrorism.
Geeta, before I let you go, Tulsi Gabbard is a practicing Hindu. She spoke of her faith in the Srimad Bhagavad Gita, in the teachings of Yogeshwar Sri Krishna to Arjun, in the battlefield of Kurukshetra, in the best of times and the worst of times. Given that she presented, she's believed to have presented the same Bhagavad Gita on which she took oath in the United States of America to Prime Minister Narendra Modi way back in 2014. So it's not just a close relationship between the two countries, the personal rapport with the Indian leadership. Does that also impact, the relationship, taking it forward in diplomatic circles?
Well, I do suppose so. There is a lot of trouble that India went through in the recent past under Biden administration with her very same department, the Department of National Intelligence, and also Kash Patel's department, that's the FBI. We'll have to wait and see how that really pans out for India and the Indian administration when it comes to certain investigations that are ongoing. And Tulsi Gabbard is somebody who's very openly also spoken about extremism against India, including Khalistani extremism. So I do not think that with her being the DNI director or Director National Intelligence, that the same would follow. That there is going to be a huge change and a shift in how America perceives this entire investigation and looks into India's concerns. Having said that, Gaurav, you very rightly said that there is a lot of rapport, personal, as also a lot of importance that Tulsi Gabbard personally attaches to India. The first leader that she met after taking oath in office this time around as well was Prime Minister Modi. He was at the Blair House. She took oath, and then the first thing she did was drove to Blair House to call on Prime Minister Modi. So her first meeting was with Prime Minister Modi, and then you're seeing the first leg of her visit, the three-country visit, is one of which is also India, where she again called on Prime Minister Modi and is also has also held important conversations on intelligence matters. So I suppose things are going to look more positive for this administration vis-a-vis Trump administration.
We will see what difference does it bring to the lives of people on ground and the counter-terror posture in the region and across the world. Geeta Mohan and Shivani Sharma for the moment. Many thanks for joining me.